Hi, we're going to talk briefly about chemical bonds. A chemical bond describes the forces of attraction between atoms, and compounds are held together by chemical bonds. There are two types of chemical bonds. There are ionic bonds and covalent bonds. Ionic bonds result when electrons have been transferred between atoms, and this results in oppositely charged ions that attract each other. Ionic bonds are generally found when metals transfer electrons to nonmetals, and it results in a sea of positive and negatively charged ions that are held together based on this attraction. Compounds of metals with nonmetals are made of ions. Polyatomic ions are several atoms that are attached to each other by covalent bond into one ion. For example, NaNO3 contains ions of sodium plus and NO3 minus. Calcium carbonate contains calcium 2 plus, as well as a polyatomic ion of CaO3 2 minus. And KCl contains potassium K plus and ClO minus. Covalent bonds result when two atoms share some of their electrons. We call covalently bonded compounds molecular compounds, and they're usually composed of two or more covalently bonded nonmetals. Writing formulas for ionic compounds. When writing the formula for ionic compounds, you write the symbol for the metal cation and its charge, followed by the symbol for the nonmetal anion and its charge. We obtain these charges from the element's group number in the periodic table. Therefore, calcium, which is in group 2, will have a 2 plus charge. Oxygen, which is in group 6, will have a 2 minus charge. Once you have written the name of the elements, then you adjust the subscript of each cation and anion to balance the overall charge. Therefore, calcium has a plus 2 charge and oxygen has a minus 2. This one is already balanced. You then check that the sum of the charges of the cations equal to the sum of the charges of the anion. In this case, our cation Ca2 plus has a plus 2 charge, the anion has a minus 2 charge, and both charges cancel. Here's an example. Write the formula of a compound made from aluminum ions and oxide ions. Step 1 is to write the symbol for the metal cation and its charge. Therefore, the cation is aluminum, which is in column 3, and so it has a 3 plus charge. Step 2 is to write the symbol of the nonmetal anion and its charge. In this case, it's an oxide ion. Oxygen is in group 6 and therefore has a 2 minus charge. Step 3 is the charges without the sign becomes the subscript for the other ion. Therefore, aluminum which has a +3 charge, and oxygen, which has a -2 charge, the subscript on aluminum then becomes 2, and the subscript on oxygen becomes 3. Once this is done, you check that the total charge of the cations cancels the total charge of the anion. In this case, aluminum, we have 2 aluminum ions, so 2 multiplied by 3 equals to a total of 6. So it's a +6 charge on the cation. In the case of oxygen, we have a subscript of 3, and oxygen has a -2 charge, and so 3 multiplied by 2 equals -6. And that is how you write the formula of a compound made from aluminum ions and oxide ions. If you follow these steps, then you can write the formula for all ionic compounds. Naming binary compounds. Binary compounds contain only 2 different elements. The name of binary ionic compounds can take the following form: name of the cation, which is usually a metal, followed by the base name of the anion, which is the nonmetal, plus IDE. For example, aluminium plus bromine would give you aluminium, brome, which is the base name of bromine, followed by IDE to become aluminium bromide. Naming binary compounds with variant charges takes a slightly different form. Here you would have the name of the cation or the metal ion, followed by the charge of that cation, followed by the base name, followed by IDE. So for example, if your cation is lead, which can have 2 charges, lead 2+ or lead 3+, then you would have the name lead, followed by 2 in Roman numerals, followed by the cation and IDE. Thank you for joining me in naming chemical bonds and naming the ionic compounds.